Hi, this is from Scrappy Mandy. I'm going to create another page in my art journal. I'm using this bodice that I did out of paper mache and some glue, and I used a Barbie doll to create the shape, and I want to use it in this page. I also want to use this horse that I cut out of this book that I purchased at a Goodwill store, and I also want to use these book pages to create the bodice, or not the bodice, but the skirt for my bodice. I want to play with some of my spray inks. Now, I created this page with texture paste. I was playing with some homemade texture paste that I made from some tutorials on YouTube. And I also was playing with a stencil that I made, with just circle stencil that I just cut out freehand. I created the circles, and then I took my craft knife and cut them all out, which took a lot of work. But I wanted to see how that one worked out, so that's why I created this page. I was playing with it. So now what I want to do is I want to use my spray inks. So I got a ton of spray ink, some that I made, some that I purchased, a lot of Heidi Swapp spray inks that I purchased when they were on sale at Michael's. So I want to go ahead and kind of mist this page. So I also want to check out how this works. I created this out of cardboard and a box. And I also want to put some paper around the book so that way I can decrease the amount of ink seeping into the other page. So just making sure that I keep this closed, because I don't want a lot of this ink to go everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to speed up the video. I hope you like it. I hope you get some ideas of what you can do in order to prevent the overspill on your craft area. And let's see how well it protects my table. So let me go ahead and get started, and I'm going to start spraying my inks, and I hope you like it. So the first layer of ink spray that I use is the Heidi Swapp Color Shine Mustard. I followed that with pink, then amethyst. And then I took some of my printer ink homemade color mist, and I'm just dripping that on top. And I follow that with a yellow version of my color mist. I also made this homemade with just printer ink. Then I take some bronzer, some Heidi Swapp Color Shine bronzer, and I drip that on there with my paintbrush, and I'm just drying it a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some big spot of Color Shine navy color, and then I'm going to use a air can to kind of feather out that Color Shine on my page. And I really like how that came out. I can, with the air gun or the air can, I can really target the ink and really blow it where I want to blow it. I got more control. So I'm putting some paper, the paper skirt, or using book page to create a skirt, a ruffle skirt on my bodice, and I glued it on the back. And I'm sorry I'm out of frame. It's just I didn't notice that I was out of frame. And then I'm going to follow it with some lace, because once I put it on the dress, I needed something more dressy-like or feminine-like, so I decided to use some of my lace. And I ruffled that around the front of my dress, or in front of my bodice. And again, I'm sorry that I'm out of frame. And then what I wanted to do is on the waistline, I wanted to put some trim and some beads. A beaded trim. So I did that to hide all the glue and all the pleats that I did put on the page. And then here I was trying to see if I had a Prima doll or Prima stamp that was large enough for the dress. And I went through all my Prima stamps, and I could not find one that I could use as the background. So I decided to leave the dress as it was. I'm not going to put anything behind it. And then I'm just cutting off frame the horse. I'm sorry that I am off frame. I didn't realize that I was. And then I'm just going to glue that on the left hand side of my pages. And I'm using Yes Paste. Now it was a little easier to be able to use Yes Paste to glue the horse, because the horses was very thin paper. But for cardstock, with all the texture that I had on the background of this page, it was a little harder. I had to end up using liquid glue. So here I'm using the Yes Paste, and it's kind of molding around the horse, or the horse is molding around all the texture on that page. But then when I cut my hearts, I will have a little harder time, so I end up using just regular liquid glue to make sure that it stayed in place. And so I'm cutting out my hearts with cardstock, and if I would have done this again, I would have used a thinner piece of paper. So here's my attempt to use Yes glue, and it does not work. So I end up pulling out my liquid adhesive. I even had to use a bamboo skewer to kind of just press it and mold the hearts around some of the texture. And I'm just making sure I'm drying it before I do the second process, which will be putting some acrylic paint on my hearts, because I wanted to have the heart stand out. So I put some acrylic red ink, and then I put some of my white Sharpie paint, and I'm using just a gel stick for around the edges to give it a dark outline, and then I'm also using liquid glass for my hearts. I'm tracing the horse with my pen, my mixed media pen, and then I decided I wanted to write a saying, and the saying is inspired by the princess inside of us. And then I'm going over it with my Japanese pen. And then I decided to use just regular India ink to go around the lettering. So here's my completed page, and I really like how it came out. It has a little more dimension. I was trying not to put a lot of dimensions in my books. The last book that I made had too much bulk on it, and it was hard to close, but this is the only page that's going to have some dimension, so hopefully it's not going to distort the book too much. But here's my page, and I hope I've inspired you, and thank you for watching. Bye now.